Hi, my name is Jonathan Miller. I'm an attorney at Roetzel and Andress. I'm also a member of USLAW's Michigan chapter, and I'll be discussing several employment-related issues today, beginning with bringing employees back from a furlough or a shutdown. When you bring employees back, you want to be thoughtful about that process. If you had certain guidelines or rules that were associated with the pre-shutdown or furlough, you want to make every effort to follow those guidelines upon bringing those employees back. If there were no sort of guidelines or rules set forth prior to that time, you're welcome to do in any non-discriminatory way that meets your business needs. But you need to be mindful of certain things, such as bringing back younger employees, not bringing back female employees with children. Any protected class you want to be thoughtful about how you bring that employee back. The easiest way to do this is probably to ask for volunteers and make that as voluntary as possible. And you do so simultaneously in a way that suits your business needs. And again, you need to be mindful of those protected classes. When volunteers start to flow in, don't filter based on individuals who may have children that are in virtual situations with school. Don't make any decisions based on a potential violation of the ADA. The easiest way to bring employees back in a voluntary process is to do so by recall letters. Now, there are no guidelines or rules set forth that state how how recall letters have to be set forth. But they want to be as specific as possible, and you want to have that uniform. If there's some reason that the employee does not want to come back to work, that needs to be identified as soon as possible, and that should be made clear in this recall letter. After you end up identifying those facts, at the end you should make it clear to the employee that if there's some reason, some health reason that they can't come back to work, that needs to be made aware to the employer as soon as possible. And if there is some sort of issue with that employee's return to work, as we'll get to in a moment, the short answer is that you would engage in the interactive process. If there is a business need to alter rates of pay or hours or other compensation factors upon a return to work, that is completely fine. But that needs to be made clear to the employee, and it also needs to be uniform in how we approach that with every employee on an ongoing basis. The easiest way to do that, as indicated previously, is to set forth that in a uniform letter on that recall letter. If that's not possible, then it needs to be made clear to the employee prior to his or her return to work. And again, there's nothing that prohibits an employer from doing so. You may encounter situations where specific employees do not want to return to work, be it generalized fears, legitimate health reasons, any number of reasons that could arise. As indicated previously, many schools are returning on a virtual basis, which puts many parents in a pickle, for lack of a better word. And the easiest way to do this is approach it just as every other ADA interactive process. You are going to, in the first instance, there's nothing that allows an employee to stay home for work for a generalized fear of COVID. If they should choose not to return to work because of his or her own subjective beliefs, then you may treat that as a resignation. Now, if there is some sort of disability-related issue that is addressed in this employee's return to work, then you are going to approach that just as any other interactive process as you would in any other situation. Is the employee's job truly essential? Step one, and then step two, is there some sort of reasonable accommodation that you can come to in order to bring that employee back to work? And you're going to want to go through that thoughtfully and carefully, just as you would with any other interactive process, because a potential discriminatory basis would potentially risk a lawsuit, which obviously is something that you would like to avoid. For my little tidbit from Michigan, I'm a Michigan resident. I live in Ann Arbor. I put a little bit of thought into this. The easy ones are Zingerman's, maybe Blimpie Burger. My personal favorite, however, is Knight's. There's a butcher, there's a restaurant downtown, there's a restaurant a bit out that's a little more old school, and they have, without a doubt, the best pour in town. So that's my personal pick for my favorite place in Michigan. Thank you.